Ma'am, my topic today is about the Filipino family. Family is a group of persons united by ties of marriage, blood, or adoption, constituting a single household, interacting and communicating with each other in their respective social roles of husband and wife, mother and father, son and daughter, brother and sister, creating and maintaining common culture. What is Filipino family? People get strength and stability from their family. As such, many children have several godparents. Concern for the extended family is seen in the patronage provided to family members when they seek employment. Next, we have here the classifications of the family. The latest Family Income and Expenditure Survey by the Philippine Statistics Authority or the PSA shows that majority, 58.4% of Filipinos belong to the low-income class, while the middle class comprises around 40% of the population. Only 1.4% fall in the high-income class. The Philippine Institute for Development Studies note that the low-income class has a bigger share of population because they tend to have larger families than other social classes. The middle class is further classified into lower, middle, and upper middle income classes. Next, we have here the functions of the family. Family is considered to be the foundation of social life for most Filipinos. The nuclear family is the core family unit. However, bonds are often tight knit among extended family members. Indeed, people may be encouraged to have a relationship with their aunts and uncles that is just as strong as the relationship with their parents. Another one is close family relationships often go beyond one's genetic connections or bloodlines to incorporate distant relatives, close neighbors, or friends. Next, we have here some of the most well-known positive and negative traits of Filipinos. First, we have the positive traits. Number one is hospitality. This is one of the most popular qualities of Filipinos. Next, respect. This is often observed not just by younger people but also by people of all ages. Number three, strong family ties and religions. Filipinos would do all they could to provide and sustain their respective families. This is present in Filipino festivals where they invite the whole family, and in Sundays where they would make time to use it to spend the whole day for their families. Number four, generosity and helpfulness. Even when we have very little, we always share with those around us. When a neighbor is in trouble, Filipinos are always ready to help them. Number five, strong work ethic. Filipinos always find creative ways to earn a living, like creating a small business from their home where they sell foods or other items for the convenience of their neighbors. Love and caring. Men are so sweet and romantic when it comes to love. They will send their beloved flowers, bring her to a very romantic place, text their sweet quotes, and tell often how special she is to them. Another one is the negative traits of Filipinos. We have here fatalism, an attitude of what goes around, comes around, or come what may. We have a tendency to surrender our future to fate. Another one is crab mentality. This is prevalent in politics where people tend to push others down to clear the way for their own gain. Another topic we have here is family patterns. Individual behaviors and achievement reflect on the family as a whole, bring about familial pride or shame. Thus, in the Filipino family, it is imperative that one behaves with respect to the self and the family sense of hiya, which is deeply held value that refers to honor, dignity, and property. Typical admonitions of the parents in response to a child's undesirable behavior. Remind the child to uphold his or her and the parents' hiya. Filipino children are likewise expected to obey parental authority and sacrifice individual interests to prioritize familial obligations. Such implicit expectations are encapsulated in the value of utang na loob, debt of one's being, or the lifelong debt owed to another person that exists not merely because of receipt of some favor, but because of deep respect and gratitude. Children are expected to possess a sense of utang na loob towards their parents for having reared them, which must be manifested in respectfulness and honoring of family obligations. Otherwise, the son or daughter will be known as without hiya or without utang na loob, no honor or gratitude, signifying that one is not a good child, much less a decent person. Consistent with the foregoing in the interdependent values, researchers have extensively documented that Filipino youth place a high value on familialism, expressed in higher endorsement of parental authority and influence in making decisions, lower disagreement with parents, and greater adherence to family obligations than European American youth. Authoritarian attitudes emphasize parental authority in child obedience and conformity. In contrast, progressive attitudes involve beliefs that children are agentic and self-directing and should be able to express and assert themselves. Filipino parents believe that discipline, often equated with physical punishment, is a necessary responsibility of parents to bind the young in the right direction. Thus, in their emphasis on obedience to authority, the foregoing clearly indicates that Filipino parents hold predominantly traditional and authoritarian child-rearing attitudes. This is in the context of child-rearing environment that is generally reported be affectionate, indulgent, and supportive, especially for younger children. The implication for Filipino parents' attributes are less explicit. Parents' beliefs are rooted in part in adults' conceptions of the nature of children. In a qualitative study on concepts of children and parenting, 74 mothers and 13 fathers expressed that children do not have a mind of their own. That is, they have yet to develop reason and understanding of reality, are impulsive and demand immediate gratification and possess a natural penchant for mischief. These beliefs legitimize parental authority and children's subservience. Indeed, if a child does grow up to be good, then this is primarily attributed to proper discipline, monitoring, and the teaching of values, according to Filipino mothers. Filipino kinship system. The kinship structure has been consistently identified as the primary socialization unit in Philippine society. Extensive documentations reveal that the family is the earliest and most continuously functioning agency of socialization. Local authority, rights and obligations, and modes of relationships are expressed, defined, ordered, and systematized. Interpersonal and intergroup movement of people or groups of people are largely determined and controlled by kinship. Kinship relations extend on both sides to include grandparents, siblings of parents, and their own offspring. Distinct terms are available in the language to denote such relationships, point to the primacy of its structural unit in the lives of the people. Merits and other ritual expands the kinship structure. Grandfathers and godmothers are marriages, and confirmations, for example, are considered as kinsmen. Four principles form the basis of the reciprocal behavior patterns expected between kinsmen, bilaterally, generation, seniority, and sex. Bilateral relations, as mentioned, describe the inclusion of relatives extending from maternal or paternal roots. Another is generation refers to one's position in the structure. Lineally or collaterally, it refers to being either in the position of aunt or uncle, niece or nephew, or son and father. As a relational principle, it emphasizes the importance of sociological rather than biological age. Seniority categorizes generations into younger and older members. For example, it defines the reciprocal rights and obligations between older and younger siblings. Sex also defines relationships, as illustrated by the use of specific terms denoting older brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles. Filipino family in the modern world. The process of modernization is catching up with the Filipino family. Change must occur if the family is to survive in a changing world. The following discussion attempts to analyze the factors of change and their probable effects. We have here modern and present view of family. First, single parents, live-in, domestic partnerships of homosexuals or LGBTQ, blended families or step families, couples opting to delay having a child or choosing not to have any. Challenges confronting the Filipino family today. 1. Migration or local and foreign. Next, nuclear families have become smaller. Another is seasonal orphans. Challenges confronting the Filipino family today. Changing role of women. More women are becoming breadwinners and head of households. House husband or house bands. Gadgets become the substitute parent of a child. Another is the effects of mass media. Exposure to violent crimes and sex brings negative effects to the development and growth of children. Another is socialization in the family is neglected. Millennial as digital generation. Filipinos spend an average of 4 hours and 17 minutes per day on social media such as Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter. 40% of kids under 2 years old have used a smartphone or tablet. 72% of 8 years and above have used smartphone or tablets. Gadgets become the substitute parent of a child. Another is common notion of a nuclear family and self-identification. It is not about the composition. What matters is the quality of relationship. Family is getting to be more common among groups no matter if they do not fit the traditional definition of what a family is. Changes in family composition. Emergence of solo parent family. Approximately 14 to 15% of the population are solo parents. Family in crisis, marriage. Today, everyone knows it. The family is in crisis. It is a global crisis. Young people don't want to marry or they don't marry but live together. Marriage is in crisis and so too the family. Increasing proportion of live-in arrangements. Percentage of women 15 to 49 who are in a live-in arrangement increased from 6% in 1998 to 14.5% in 2013. National Demographic and Health Survey in 2013. Percentage of youth 15 to 24 in a live-in arrangement increased from 4.7% in 1994 to 13.8% in 2013. This is from the Young Adult Fertility and Sexuality Survey in 2014. Thank you. That's the end of my topic.